Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all the goods. Thank you for joining October's monthly board meeting. We will get started. Dominique, did you have a chance to record attendees?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
And we do have a quorum.
And we have a quorum. Thank you. Erica, do you mind reading today's meeting mission statement?
Sure. Metrolina Regional Scholars Academy provides a differentiated, challenging, and equitable learning environment that supports the distinctive intellectual, social, and emotional needs of highly gifted children from diverse backgrounds and enables them to form meaningful relationships with their intellectual peers.
Thank you. Guess the first order will be the approval of previous board meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the draft minutes from September 22, 2025 open session.
So moved.
Okay.
Thank you, Dominique, and thank you, Erica. All those in favor for approving the draft minutes for September 22nd, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, okay.
Aye.
Okay, anyone not approve, say nay. Right, the ayes have it, the minutes have been approved. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Dominique. Thank you, Danny. All those in favor of approving the adopting the agenda for today, please say aye.
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 Any who don't approve today's agenda, say nay. The ayes have it. The agenda has been approved. This will be the first opportunity for community comments. The public is welcome to speak, limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Topic should not cover private, confidential, or personal information. The board will not respond or enter into dialogue on topics discussed. At this time, you may indicate your desire to participate in community comments by raising your hand using controls in the Zoom application or browser. When it is your turn, a moderator will identify you by name and grant you access to speak. Okay, no hands have been raised. All right. Ms. Cuneo, do you have you want to talk about your report for today?
Yes. So, for the director's report for this month, I just wanted to review our admissions plan. Right now, we are just advertising through our website and social media sites. We're doing a total of 5 in-person open houses. They're all on Tuesdays at 10. And our student, 8th grade student leadership are doing the tours, and then we do an information session afterwards. We're doing 2 virtual sessions, one in November, one in December. That will be more information based, which we will record and have those available on our website for potential applicants. So we're accepting applications now, and we are doing our information sessions. Our group test deadline will be December 12th for the January test dates, and our deadline for admissions is in February, and that's all on the website. I also wanted to review, well, did anyone have any questions about that?
Not question, but I guess thought, I know it has done in the past, but to the extent, do you think that there's any value in having any board member attend one of those either tours or testing? Let us know, I guess.
Okay, maybe one of the virtual ones would make sense if possible, or I mean, you're welcome to attend any of them. But on the virtual one that we're gonna record, but first will be November 4th. So that might be something where you can describe what the board does, because we have a very short piece on that. We don't go into a lot of detail, but I think that could be elaborated on with a board member and have that kind of information on the website. That might be a good idea. I wanted to go over our teacher and staff evaluation plans and how this works, or how this is working this year. So Ms. Delp, our academic director, and myself are conducting teacher evaluations. Every teacher falls under one of three categories. So it's either comprehensive, which requires 4 observations throughout the year. 3 are formal, which means you schedule them ahead of time with the teacher. You go through a full rubric and you go through a pre and post observation conference, and the observation itself has to be at least 45 minutes in length for each of those. And then for that comprehensive one, there's also a peer observation, which Ms. Stoltz is completing the peer observations. These are for beginning teachers who are within their first 3 years of teaching, or teachers new to Scholars Academy. So the second category is standard, which has 3 observations. These are abbreviated, which means they have to be no less than 20 minutes in length for the observation. And they also use, so every observation, we use the North Carolina Teacher Evaluation Rubric, which has 5 strands and is pretty lengthy. For abbreviated observations, there's just 2 strands. It's standard 1 and 4 for teachers in that area. These are for teachers who are in their renewal year. So once a teacher becomes a professional licensed teacher after 3 years, they renew their license once every 5 years. And that renewal year is they'll be in the standard observation where they need 3. They have to receive 80 renewal hours over 5 years that they submit to the state for their renewal as well. So there's state requirements. And then we have the abbreviated, which is just 2 shortened observations with standards 1 and 4. These are for teachers not in their renewal year and who have taught for more than 3 years and who have been at Scholars Academy for at least 1 year. So we are almost done with round 1 of those observations. We'll be continuing those throughout the year. We also do a mid-year check-in with teachers regarding their professional development plans that they write. They pick 2 goals that they work on throughout the year. Some may have more than 2 goals, but 2 goals is pretty common. They're measurable goals that are going to help improve their practice, or they relate directly to the evaluation rubric. And then there is a summative meeting at the end of the year with every teacher, and we go through the goals, that if they've met their goals or where they are with everything they've done this year. And that aligns with the renewal time for contracts, usually starting in February, March. And then in addition, we do something kind of similar with support staff. We do a mid-year review and an end-of-year review where we look at rubrics that are specific to their job responsibilities. And we also visit classrooms constantly for short periods of time, just to give feedback, observe the students, get to know the students better, and just the teaching climate of each classroom. So does anyone have any questions about that process for teachers or support staff?
And you might have said this and I might have missed it, so I apologize. Does this occur right now or is this throughout the year?
So it occurs throughout the year, but Miss Delp and I are finishing, we'll be done by the end of October with our first round. So I'd have to pull up my spreadsheet, but we have to start now and it will take us the rest of the year to get all of these in so that each person within either 4, 3, or 2 observations gets their appropriate amount. And then the meetings, we have a pre-conference with teachers, which is usually about 15 minutes. And then a post-conference, which is a little bit longer. It talks through the observation, giving feedback, figuring out how to support the teacher, and just having more of a formal meeting with all of the staff. So they're time consuming, but
And are these planned, as in someone's scheduled on this very specific day, or they're kind of surprises?
they're planned for the most part. Sometimes we'll do unplanned, but usually the unplanned are less formal. But we allow the teachers to have a say in what it is they want us to see, because sometimes what they want us to see aligns with their goals. So maybe they are working on small group instruction and language arts, and they want us to observe that so that we can provide specific feedback to them towards what their goals are. Other times we'll say, we want to see math. What day works well for you? The kids aren't taking a test that day. We're going to see more instruction. So we may be specific in what we want to see and they help schedule that. But then the frequent visits are not scheduled. We just pop in, talk to the kids,
Yeah.
sit, and watch for a little bit. So those are more, those could be 5, 15 minutes, not very long.
Question, Ms. Cuneo. How different or similar is this process this year versus previous years? Do you know that?
This is the process I took 7 years ago. I have no idea what happened. I mean, I found observations and things in different drives, but I don't know the formal process that was taken laid out. I think it was a well laid out plan, but I don't know if it was I don't know. I'd have to look more into it. I think the same rubric was used because it's a state rubric. We do have the ability to use any rubric of our choice, but this one is the state rubric and it transfers from school to school. And the teachers have been trained on it anywhere they've been in North Carolina. And we train the teachers on new to North Carolina or new to scholars, but it's easy to use the standardized one just because it applies to any setting. If we ever used our own, it'd probably be best to make our own specific to our school versus use a different one that exists.
And I had a question on the previous topic, so actually not a question, but just a comment. When we talked about board participation, just wanted to share that in the past, when we did the testing sessions in person, the board kind of walked around the room while the kids were in testing. And we talked to the parents to address any questions that they might have had. So that was sort of the value add. Just so you can think of whether that's something you want to do this year or not.
Okay, thank you. Those are in January.
Yes. Okay. I'm curious, thank you. The thing is, I love the evaluation. I don't think I've ever paid attention to the evaluation part, so I think it's great to hear and understand, like breaking it down. I'm curious to whether this is an opportunity to tie it back to the bonuses. I remember toward the end of the year, we're talking about retention and we're talking about bonuses, and I think that to the extent of my knowledge, we've tied it back to, and maybe this is a personal matter that it shouldn't be addressing here.
That's right.
Um, but to try to level up the compensation towards market, so making sure that they are compensated vis-a-vis Mecklenburg for licensed and unlicensed teachers. But I think there's always this question to where when we can stretch more, if they're to an objective standard, and I wonder maybe this is a place where we could do more of that. So
In traditional schools, are, are evaluations tied with compensation?
There are schools who do that. I don't know if Scholars did in the time I wasn't there. We never did when I was. Teaching is tricky to be compensated in that way. I
no,
personally don't want a competitive atmosphere. I want a collaborative atmosphere, and kind of tying a bonus to the evaluations can create kind of a culture that is competitive. It's kind of a little bit less willing to share their practices with each other. There are successful places that have tied bonuses to retention, but often it is not retention, to evaluation. The research I've done is close to challenging districts or schools where turnover is really high or student achievement is challenged. They've had some success with tying bonuses to teacher evaluations. I think it would be something we'd have to take some time to really think about if we were going to go that way.
no, fair. Thank you. Very valid point.
Any other questions on the teacher evaluation process?
Is any of that information will be shared with us in some sort of aggregate way or anything like that?
The
Any of the
evaluation,
results?
Yeah, I think
I don't think so. I mean, I think that's operational and, a lot of it is, I don't want to say subjective, but I mean, it is, but we're sitting there, there isn't like numbers they give somebody, right? Ms. Cuneo, it's not like we're rating somebody, you're giving like constructive feedback.
right? It's not numbers. It is a rubric that says, similar to our kids' report cards, like developing, progressing, mastered. So it's check boxes, lots and lots of boxes, and narrative feedback. So it isn't an overall like score that they get. You do end up not ranking, but saying if they're proficient or developing overall. So there could be an aggregate of that, and that could help possibly determine like some goals for the school. I've never done that before, but I could do that. If that's
Traditionally, we have not gotten that information, but I think it's probably worth
Yeah,
considering. Maybe it's something educational excellence can discuss, if there's any value to that.
certainly as it would apply to our strategic goals, if there's something that a strategic goal and the committees can do to help with professional development or retention, or I don't know if retention is included in that, but whatever. If there's takeaways from the summary data throughout the year that you want to share with the school or a committee, we're always happy to take that extra information to help develop our goals.
Can I pipe in real quick? Excuse me, this is Allison. I would just say that information we would need, I think, like as an overall, maybe, or if there were trends. I don't want the teachers to feel like, we're all keeping score or something to that effect. There's a trend that, SEL does need more focus and the teachers need more
Yeah.
help, something like that. And that's totally off the cuff versus like, teacher A
Agreed.
blah.
That's why the situation was that the data would be aggregated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
aggregated, not individualized.
Yeah. Again, I think it's worth considering. I don't know if it's, at the end of the day, if it'll provide us any valuable, I mean, it might, I don't know. I guess it's something we have to think about more. I don't think we can make that call right now. I think it's a good thing to consider.
I'm a fair point, Allison. All right, any other questions?
Okay.
We'll go onto the governance committee. Danny?
Sure. So the governance committee, number one, we talked about this in the prior meeting that we wanted to make sure that we are on track on our board activities. So we collected and reviewed different sources from where we have taken notes as far as what has worked or not worked in terms of our calendar of board activities. So we put that together and we finalized that. It's here attached and I posted it in the board on track. So hopefully we'll now have like that one source that we can go back to if needed. Hopefully that's helpful. We discussed key hallmarks of our bylaws that may require an update. Looking them compared to what council has proposed as to be what she has provided to the charter schools. So we looked at that. We definitely need to sit on some of those before we move anything further. One thing though to consider was that potentially this bylaws review may require to go back to the review board as part, and so we might want to look into that a little bit more. There might be a concern taking this to the review board.
You mean to the state?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's part of the charter renewal document.
I can confirm that with.
So I want to validate that, but from what, and thank you, Ms. Kinney, for sharing that information so I think I want to look into that deeper and validate that before we take any further steps, investing our time and reviewing something that we may not be able to at this time. We discussed, we agreed actually to purchase the new, in the prior meeting, we did share to and acknowledge to the board the staff and parents handbook. Council has shared an updated one that includes also new code of conduct that is fleshing out the latest and greatest from cell phones, Title IX, bullying. So there's been just a lot on that it may just be better to just buy the whole package versus trying to amend piece by piece. So we're looking at that. Moving on to personnel and staff. So we will be discussing various personal matters and one employee contract at closed. On board recruitment, we still have one opening for this school year. So to the extent we can do more, we're going to continue to bring that top of mind of everyone's support for that opening, and we will have 3 openings in the next cycle. Again, new staff and employee matters to discuss at close. I think things to come up later, not here. We will be revisiting strategic goal planning and ED evaluation. So more to come on that. And that's it for the governance committee. Any questions?
Do we have to vote for this parent-student handbook thing, or is that already agreed with already?
That's, you mean in terms of purchasing, I think, that's below any threshold that requires a board vote. It's not very much, we go with the dollar amount.
50.
Yes, 150. The board will acknowledge that we've seen the new policies once it becomes finalized, but we don't need to approve the purchase or the opening.
Okay. I would just be interested in looking at what changes they're proposing,
Mhm.
particularly for things like cell phones or for things that are needed.
Some state laws that we have to comply with, so cell phones are,
Part of them.
part of that. We'll talk about that in policy.
Okay, great.
So the strategic calendar for governance. Well, I guess it's not just for governance, it's for,
General, yeah,
okay, cause,
I think that's a first, kind of a first, or
Oh.
there's more.
okay, cause there's some things on here that are, I think might be missing. And some things that, like the liability insurance review that happens in March, not June.
Let me
I think anybody sees anything that seems
out of order.
So is it? What is it? What is the purpose of this? Because I see things next, I see things like board is supposed to do, and then I see things that the ED is going to present to us. So I see two different things here.
So the EDD, yeah, so I think, so then we go back to kind of how it was put together. This is just an aggregate of different sources. And the extent of this is meant to be a guide, but not what we should follow.
Sure.
I think what we were trying to solve here is if you're in the governance committee, you don't know what the governance committee, well, you know what they should do, but if
Yeah.
they're a guide, you can lean to, that this is meant to be that source. But if from other experiences, we have a better way to put it in a different order. Or to your point, like, is it an ED presenting or the governance? I think they can definitely.
I think we could talk offline about it. I think a lot of it is EDs presenting this because we have oversight over. So we want to make sure the ED is presenting it because we have to make sure that it's happening and going on.
Mhm.
That, but we could talk offline.
Yeah, so maybe saying like, is the committee like, is it responsible, like the roles and responsibilities versus, yeah, clarifying the roles and responsibilities.
Yeah. That's what
Got it.
That's kind of what I struggled with when I.
You can just a meeting, you see ED and there's like a work.
Right, exactly. So maybe it's that, maybe it needs to. Yeah,
Take a rate.
I'll take a look and tell you like the things that I see it missing and that you might want to change. I think we'll take a look.
I'm gonna share to you like a soft version, maybe that's easier.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks, Erica.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other?
Liliana, a finance update?
Sure. I sent you guys something on the CD, so when we get to that. So the first item on the agenda is the 403B plan status. So basically, we have been working with policy committee to update the 403B plan policy. I think there's an item in there that doesn't allow employees to withdraw the employer contributions. So we're looking to get that amended and we're pending that policy update. We're also have been gathering information regarding other restrictions or requirements of the plan. So Ms. Hansen is looking into that. And then to make sure that all that aligns and then we can make changes with the actual provider TI Craft to update that plan. Tax preparation. So the 5,500 tax form was due on October 15th, and that has been submitted by the deadline successfully. That required an extra charge that was not accounted for in our budget for that form with the accounting firm. So that's going to be one of the budget amendments that we see today. The audit report was originally due on October 28th, but oh, okay. So somebody updated it here.
I think I found that it was December 31st. That could be wrong.
Okay, so Heather told me it was a month from
Oh,
the day.
That could be wrong.
So November 28th is when we think
the extension is until per month.
Right, thank you.
But we did get an extension on that, and so we're working with the audit firm to confirm that. We're getting sort of mixed feedback on the audit firm. The person who we are working with is not as diligent, so we've had to like submit things multiple times. Same things have been asked for multiple times, so that's kind of delaying the process. So it's a little frustrating from that end, but should be done by the new deadline. And then I wanted to share the financial statements that we have for September. So that's one of the PDFs that I put in there. If you can pull that up, we can walk through those.
This one?
No, that's the budget amendments. That's the last one we're gonna talk about. That one, yes. Thank you. So this is the balance sheet. This is the balance sheet as of September 30th, 2025, and this compares to June. So basically, our total assets are 7,211,000. That includes our cash and our property and equipment expenses, all of that. Oh, sorry, those assets. Our liabilities are 258,000. There's not much change here. This is just sort of that point in time view of our assets and liabilities. The next page, it's more interesting because that's what's gonna give us, if you just scroll down in that one. Yeah, just scroll down. Yeah, there you go. This page does the comparison of our initial budget to our actuals. And this is what we analyze on a month-to-month basis to determine budget amendments and to see where we are on a month-to-month basis on expenses. This is, to establish the rigorosity of managing our expenses. So on here, you could see that our original budget was 4.7 million in revenue, and so far, as of September, we've received 560, 794. That's about 12% of what our expected budget was. So nothing to be concerned. We're only a quarter through the way in the year, so this is coming in as expected. You'll see in our budget amendments, we now have actuals for the for some of the state and federal revenue that we expect, and we're going to discuss that in the amendments as to the actuals that are coming through. If you scroll down a bit, we're going to go through the expenses. So basically we go through most of these lines. Heather and Heather goes through it with the accounting firm through, and she checks to make sure to see with, how expenses are coming through and if everything is getting coded properly and how we're running against budget on these. So pretty much right now, there's nothing alarming. It's only been a couple months into the year. So we expected expenses on a total payroll to be about 3 million. We're at 675, which is about 19% of the budget. That seems to align. And on the non-payroll, 943 was our budget, and we're at 212,000, which is about 23% of our budget. On some of these things, like transportation, you see that it's the percentage, it's about 124%. So some things like that we're going to explain in the budget amendments. These are things that activity that has come through, transactions that we've done that are impacting those line items. And this last section just
reconciles the income statement to the balance sheet based on depreciation. Any questions on this?
Do you know traditionally when the state and local revenue comes in?
Yeah, so some of it is coming through now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I couldn't remember if it comes in all once, like a lump sum or.
No, I think it comes throughout the year.
Okay.
Different things come in depending,
Mhm.
but some of it has come through already, and I know the numbers for us.
Sure.
Is that part of the amendment?
Yes, so we'll go through the budget amendments. So Heather put together the budget amendments in this nice schedule here. So the revenue that as it has come through, you'll see the first two items are federal grants. So the first one is the 060 IDEA basic. We expected 83,183, but now we know that actuals came in at 69,497. And it's nothing specific to the school, like why we got less or anything. It's just everyone got less. So this is what we are expecting. Similarly for the 103 grant, that came out, fairly close. So we're just aligning the actuals to the budget. And then we have the foundation one. So this is increasing now. We originally have budget 13,500. And you may remember this amount. This was for the theater program that we were doing this year. So in this line item, we're now including the foundation director's salaries. And the idea is that it is a pass through to the school. The school receives the funds from the foundation to pay those salaries and then pays it out. So it's a net zero impact to our budget.
Say that again, sorry.
So the foundation's director is really an expense of the foundation, but it gets passed through to the school so that the foundation director can be included in the benefits with the rest of the other school employees.
It's for the two employees.
Makes sense.
Thank you. So this line item, it was always planned to be this way, but there was no specific line item done in the budget for it. So we are now including it in here. So that's another budget amendment that we're doing. The fourth one, you may remember at the beginning of the school year, Ms. Cunha went through all the rental agreements. So there was a bit of an increase in that revenue that she proposed. So that's being included in here. And then the last one is for field trips. It came across as one of those things as we're reviewing the budgets versus actual. We noticed that the budget was originally at 20,000, but last year we spent 35,000. So it just made sense to update it. And this is one of those that's also a net. The funds for this come from the parents to fund the field trips. So there's a corresponding field trip expense associated with that at the bottom. So just to review with everyone that this may be new, like budget amendments are just to align the budget to what we expect our expenses to be. And so we do this process month to month to make sure that we bring our budget as close as we can to actuals with the information that we know of what's coming in or what we expect. So for salaries, this one is one that over the summer there were a number of staff that was hired and contracts that were completed. So this brings it all up to date with the new slate with everyone that's on board now. Social Security unemployment aligns to that. Unemployment, you're gonna see a little bit of an increase here. We did a calculation of what unemployment should be, and it just wasn't aligning to what their budget was giving us, so we just bumped it up a little bit more based on the information that we know. So books and supply, this was a line item. It comes across from the 060. I think we clear that out because we don't expect to spend that. And then we have the field trips, which we talked about, and staff development. It comes from the 103. So that's aligning with the 103 on the top for the revenue. And the admin services audit, this is the one we talked about for the Form 5500, the additional expense for the accounting firm to do that. So these are the budget amendments we have for this month. There's other ones that are in the works, but these are the ones we know for sure are happening.
That was helpful. Thank you for walking through that.
Sure.
Yeah, any questions on this stuff before we move on to the other agenda item for the finance committee?
Are we voting at the end of?
We can vote
Yep.
these now. So we'll need a vote on this. And then let's vote at the end of finance.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to talk through?
Yes, so is this the last item or is there another one? Okay, sorry. So the last item we have here is our CD ladder. So we talked about this, I think, in our last meeting, but our goal is to, every 2 months, I think, one of our we have like 4 different CDs that mature every 9 months. And so it's almost like every 2 months, one matures, and so we have to reinvest it. So this is our schedule right now. There were 2 corrections that had to be done that are outlined here on the right-hand side. But we have another one expiring on October 30th, which is like number 4, like line number 4 there. Yeah, that one. And so we are going to be reinvesting that this week. And I think what we want to do is vote on this ladder structure so we can continue to reinvest in this manner for the remaining of the year. And each CD has 250,000 in it. And
Different banks or the CDs all together?
no, they are in different banks. So the process, what happens is when the CD is about to expire, we get a list of available CDs to reinvest from different banks with different interest rates. And so we review that information. Heather looks at it. She proposes a few CDs. I approve, and then it goes back to the bank. And the turnaround has to be very quickly because soon those CDs could go away and not be available anymore. So if we're lucky, we get our preferred ones. We give them, we give them our, top 3 options, something like that, and then they just grab them, but they end up being in different banks. But it all goes through Truist.
Okay.
So just to make clear, what we're going to be doing is voting on the finance committee and the school automatically rolling over expiring CDs into a new CD through the end of through June, effectively. June? Okay.
We have some that expired in July.
Yeah, but we're asking for to go into, so we only need to approve it once because
Right.
we can't get the board to approve these every time it happens because the school needs to add facts.
Yeah.
Because they're all taken up. So we're approving the schedule throughout the rest through the summer here.
Yeah, through the summer is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
If you can please approve it through the summer so that at least we are covered till beginning of August.
Okay. Any questions? So, um, I'll entertain a motion to approve the budgeted amendments to the school as recommended by the finance committee.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you, Dominique. Thank you, Erica. All those in favor of um approving the budget amendments, please say aye.
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 Uh,
All those who do not approve the budget amendments say nay. I thought ayes have it, unanimous approval for the budget amendment was passed. I'll entertain a motion to approve the renewal of the expiring CDs for the latter discussed and proposed by the Finance Committee through August 2026. All those in, oh,
so moved.
second.
thank you, Erica. Thank you, Danny. All those in favor of approving the CD renewal process, say aye.
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 All those who don't approve, say nay. The ayes have it. It has been passed unanimously. And then we can go to Finance Committee.
Last.
Dennis,
Done.
so Allison,
Sorry, my kids were just driving me nuts. Aye. Is that what you're waiting for? I thought I said aye, but
no, the Fast Committee stuff.
oh,
Sorry.
yep. Okay. Sorry about that. Yes. And I'm now blanking because I don't have board on track up.
No
So,
worries.
do you
You
have?
want me to prompt you?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep, the update for the fence.
Yep. Everybody's probably seen the fence is up and running. We have one gate that is still missing. But I believe we are in touch, and we have not paid in full yet. We have put it down a deposit, but we will not pay in full until everything's done. So I have no worries there. We'll get keypads that the operations, maintenance, and admin staff will have. In addition to the landscapers. But yes, we have a big front yard now that the teachers will be able to start utilizing whenever they are ready and whenever the last gate goes in. Other things there were questions about if there were any HVAC issues. And right now everything seems to be humming along. So we're kind of Paul and Jessica are keeping track of that to see if we have any issues. There were some issues last year that we're just trying to make sure we stay on top of, but we also don't want to fix something that's not broken. So just kind of staying on top of that. And then there are some small operational changes that the board or FAST committee does not really need to be a part of because they're just kind of day-to-day changes that Jessica and team will take care of on their own. Of course, if you all need anything, you can let us know. And then kind of the overarching thing that we are working on in the background is trying to determine how we can adjust our building to fit our strategic plan. And so it's kind of a little chicken and the egg. We're trying to figure out what we need the building to do for us, and then we'll try to figure out what we can adjust in the building to make it work better for us. So it is a big question mark on the answers. We have to kind of know the needs before we can solve the needs, and so we're working on that, but nothing to report in detail there. Did I do okay? Did I hit all the highlights?
There are a couple more things, the
Perfect.
sidewalk on the south side of the school, I believe.
Yeah, so that was under the threshold. So that's just gonna
Oh, that's
the
what you meant.
financial
Okay.
threshold. Yeah, so that'll just be handled kind of in-house, but some things that were noticed as school started of things that would be nice to fix. And so Jessica and Paul, I believe, are working on that again, if you guys need help. But the fees or the cost for a lot of those things were not needed, board approval or board, board
Yeah.
approval was not needed. Yeah.
Right. And that includes the alarm system as well, that we're looking into it. And we're looking into the PA system.
Those will not be under that threshold amount, but we're trying to figure out the most cost-effective scenario that would work best for the school. Ms. Ellington was looking at that, and I can poke her and see if she's had any updates. Obviously, if money weren't no object, we'd have this grand Cadillac system, but just trying to identify, again, the needs versus trying to get the best bang for our buck. Those will be above that threshold, though, so
Okay.
stay tuned.
And then 77 Center Drive.
We did, there were like in terms of the pothole.
Speed. Oh, I'm not sure if this is reference to speed bumps or the potholes.
Well, there
It
were a
says
few
request
questions.
to add.
Oh yeah, request to add. I'm assuming it's not requesting to add potholes.
I don't believe that we'll be able to put speed bumps on that street. Actually, I don't know, but it is, I don't know. I could check on that. I don't know if we want them, but we did, I have poked someone about making it a school zone. I don't know
Yeah.
how effective those are because there's not really police patrolling it for anyone to feel scared about slowing down. But I can ping them again. And I noticed I did fill out the online form to fix potholes. And I noticed that it was at least filled in. And I will note, you can tell, so there's that portion of street that is like kind of like the top layer of asphalt's not yet laid. And the same is for the entire apartment project. You'll notice if you drive through the apartment, there's like a 2-inch gap between where the asphalt is now and the top of the bottom of the curb. So there is a top coat of asphalt that normally goes in at the end of the project, like after all the construction vehicles are done. I have a feeling, and they usually wait until like absolutely everything is done on a project. That's like the last thing that they do. Kind of like when you're doing something at your house, you get your concrete driveway poured last. So I believe that pothole area where it kind of dips down right by our driveway will get filled in at the same time as that. No idea when that will be, but that should not be the end. But it does seem like they at least filled in those holes so that we're not busting any tires.
Yeah, I've noticed. They filled it in.
I have a question. If you have anything to share, Allison, our challenges, let's say, that we experienced with the HVAC, was that more so for AC, not heating?
It was, because it was warm. The problem is that the building was warm. We, knock on wood, did not have any AC problems yet this year. And we specifically asked about those when like at the beginning, I think that was one of the first fast meetings that we had back in September, whenever the first one was, maybe even August. Don't quote me on the date. But and we seem to be humming along even for AC. So we have not, again, knock on wood, we have not had any documented large scale problems of heat as we are rolling into the heating season. Hopefully that will stay true. I do feel like we are positioned a little bit better from an operations and building management standpoint to pivot as needed and supply auxiliary heating or cooling as necessary.
And Allison, I think you mentioned that for the fence, there's only been a deposit paid. No other payments have been made.
That's correct.
Okay. And do we have like I remember seeing on an email one of the like the latest proposal, but it still had options like option 1, 2, or like different types of materials. Do we have a document that would give us the final estimate with the materials that we chose so that we can use that to feed the budget?
Yeah, so this should have been already budgeted. It was So it was already, I guess, in last year's budget, I believe. And listen, I am the least financially savvy person in the world, but I believe it was on the last, we had the money to cover it. The $25,000 that was put towards the deposit was for the grant that came from the state. And so that should have been like a net zero. And the rest of the money was part of a line item in last year's budget that had not been used for safety and security or something to that effect. So it should all be accounted for in that budget. However, yes, I can get you an updated or the latest and greatest. Jessica, do you know, there was a question, and I don't know if Denise was in charge of this or Paul or you, but there was a conversation about adding additional netting at the at the K2 playground around the soccer field. Was that ever decided if we were going to spend a little bit more money and add on to that netting or not?
I think this is a rough estimate, but ended up being about $3,500, I think, for
Yes.
the additional netting. I don't know if we gave them the go-ahead on that or not. I don't know. The reason I think maybe not is because we kind of thought it was packaged in the whole fence deal, which I didn't know if that was still under my realm to approve that price because. So at this point, no, we haven't given them the go-ahead, but we have the quote for it.
Okay, so and we can talk offline too. The initial quote gave us, I believe it was 40 feet of netting. And so that is included in the original proposal. So I think there's 20 feet installed. These numbers might not be exact, but the general percentages concept is. So if we wanted to keep what's there, not keep it, but replace it, and replace it with the new, we can double the length of what we have for net zero. And then I think the $3,500 was if we included the entire, I think it was 54 feet between the soccer field and the parking lot. And so when I last saw any emails floating around, Tim, the fence guy, and Paul were checking on site to kind of talk through what we wanted to do. I don't know, and this would be a question for the board in general. Do we treat that as an adjustment to that budget item, a $3,500 net add if we do decide to do the whole thing? Or is that an additional 3,500 separate, and that is underneath the threshold as required for board approval?
I think we should look at what's in the budget though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be determined after we look to see what we put in the budget, because at the time there was a range. So I don't know where we landed on the final number in the budget. So maybe we take that offline and see what's there to make
Yeah,
it.
I can send the final proposal that is before this additional proposed netting. Jessica, if you can check with Paul and see what came of that conversation and what the suggestion is from an operational standpoint, and then we can see, if obviously I'll still get you the updated proposal. But if we do need to adjust it, if we decide we need more netting and need to adjust it, then we can cross that bridge when we come to it.
I guess I'm a little confused. I had asked whether we were getting more netting, and the answer was yes. This was from last meeting. Was that just the initial 20 feet that you're talking about, Allison? Maybe?
So we have, I believe the linear footage we have right now is 20 feet. On our proposal, we have 40 feet. We were going to double it. Now, as we were playing on the playground this year and as we're losing balls like we do, the question was, hey, should we add more? And so that more than 40. And so that's kind of the question. We already have more than what we had last year in the budget. do we need additional? And that's kind of the question mark that's happening right now.
Is that 40 up right now?
No, it is not yet up. And I think we are trying, they're trying to install it all at once.
I
And
see.
so, yeah, we need to,
Thank you.
yep.
Any other questions for Allison?
None for me.
Yeah, great.
Right. Malik, you want to take us through the policy committee agenda?
Certainly. On the agenda, we have the second reviews for the two policies that were discussed at the last meeting. The first being the wireless communication device policy, which has been created in response to the state legislature's requirement to have a wireless communication device policy. Um, it was attached. We had the review. We had the first review last month, and we attached a copy of the uh, law, which the law is House Bill 959. Um, the policy committee made some edits. They were not material edits, but we cleaned it up and it's been placed on the agenda in the format um, to align with our standardized policies. So we would recommend that that vote occur. I believe that Liliana asked earlier about cell phones when she was discussing, or she was asking about some of the potential changes. And so if there are any questions there, happy to answer those. But this is the first policy that we would be recommending a vote upon. And should we vote this evening, we would then have to present it to the state so that to note that we are in compliance of the approval of a wireless communication device policy. Any questions regarding that?
So,
So
go for it.
sorry, our policy will essentially allow them to bring a device to school as long as it's put away during instructional time.
That is correct, unless the device is being used for instructional time. So we have examples, right? A wireless communication device, if there's a laptop, we have scenarios where teachers have had students take photos with their cell phones of homework assignments or assignments that are being worked on in class and submitting them. So, those would be examples of utilizing the devices as part of instructional time. There's also statutorily required other scenarios. So if the phone is needed as part of a 504 or individualized education plan, in addition to if the phones were to be utilized for translation purposes or assistive communication, if there's a safety plan for the child that incorporates the utilization of a wireless communication device, that is an option as well. Otherwise, the exceptions, the primary exceptions are for educational purposes or for the use in the event of an emergency.
Any other questions? We can move on to the next policy.
Then Liliana also noted the reference to the retirement withdrawal policy. and that the current policy was stating that they could not make a withdrawal of their retirement funds, and the document proposed this evening as an amendment. Take a look at that. In this situation, stating that in the event of termination, the former employee will have the ability to will have the ability and should have access to their account so that they can initiate a rollover to another retirement account or request some sort of distribution. It notes that the Scholars Academy may periodically consider strategies to reduce the participant count, particularly related to terminated employees. And it notes that Scholars Academy may be able to consider, if there's a force out balance, the opportunity to perform an automatic rollover, and of course, give the former employee the options to make distributions or request distributions rather consistent with the plan protocols. This will allow the request that is being made. Of course, prior to, and it's noted in here that prior to that distribution, they'll need to confirm the status of the employee and note or ensure the accuracy regarding vesting prior to approving any distributions.
Any questions on this? Okay, thank you, Malik. Do you want to vote on these items now?
Yes, unless we're doing a group of votes at the end of
Looking at them now, because I'm already queuing them up.
Let's
All
do
right.
it now.
All right. Then if you are entertaining a motion, I will move to approve the wireless communication device policy as presented by the policy committee.
Second.
So all those in favor of approving the wireless communication device policy as recommended by the policy committee, please say aye.
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 All those who do not approve the policy, the communications policy, say nay. The ayes have it. Unanimous decision to approve the communications policy as proposed by the policy committee.
Ms. Cunha, I just want to make sure that you're going to submit the new policy. Or do we need to do something specific to that?
Oh, for the state, I can submit
Yeah. All right, excellent. Thank you very much.
That was just the wireless.
Whereas one.
That's just the wireless communication. Yes, that's the one that has the deadline.
Do you want to, I guess I'll propose, I'll entertain a motion to amend the retirement withdrawal policy per the policy committee's recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adopting the amended retirement withdrawal policy as recommended by the policy committee, say aye.
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 All those who do not approve the recommendation, say nay. The ayes have it. the policy has been approved. Anything else, Malik?
Yes, the next section on the policy, I apologize for not correcting that the portion of the agenda that says that we're acknowledging and reviewing the teacher parent student handbook. We did that already during the September meeting. We'll just note the upcoming topics. They include, I no need to go further. Donnie has already noted that governance is talking about the bylaws, but the policy committee also, so there's some cross-referencing there. The AI within acceptable use policy, we're still going over that, and that those topics will be addressed in during the Tuesday, October 28th meeting, along with taking a look at some of the shared material from council regarding the student code of conduct, and that would be all for the policy committee.
Thank you, Malik. Any questions for policy? Educational excellence, Malik.
All right, thank you. The next educational excellence meeting will be December 9th at 8:15 a.m. We are going to just quickly note some of the highlights from the parent survey, which closed August 22nd. The parent survey is still going through its analysis, and there will be a presentation of some of the results to the school community. But just quickly, in regards to the survey, every grade was represented, with the largest percentage coming from the third grade. Families overwhelmingly value our academic excellence. They're happy with our fabulous teaching stance and the advanced curriculum with the gifted focus. There's a desire for renewed innovation with enrichment programs, possibly integrating modern technological skills. There seems to be a desire for more consistency and clarity in the SEL program. Again, the results will be further presented to the community at large at a later time period. And then the last item on the agenda is to note that the required computer science program is up and running. That'd be the final bullet on the Educational Excellence Committee agenda.
Okay. Any questions for educational excellence? Great. Kim, do you want to talk about DEI?
I do. Thank you. Can y'all hear me okay?
We can.
Okay. So our next meeting will be November 14th. We have, thanks to Danny, we've gotten the holiday calendar to the PTO. We are continuing to monitor legislation that will affect DEI concerns at the school. We are thinking about an EDS package of support we were talking about for incoming students to figure out what kind of financial support our families might need. We've had a really recent development in that. Ms. Cuneo shared that there's been some suggestion that it might be good to think about what our current families are needing right now, specifically in thinking about the pause to SNAP benefits and changes like that are happening right now. So there's an opportunity for us to step up and be supportive in terms of nutrition and food security for our families. So I guess the question is, what do we think that might look like, and what do we envision for our school and what we can do.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah, so I encourage anyone in the community who's impacted by this or not to share their thoughts so that we can support one another, as Kim said. We will be working with the foundation and the PTO to see if there's something we can do in relatively quick fashion. Any questions?
I just think this is great. EDS package is a great idea.
Yeah.
Is an announcement being made in the newsletter to this effect?
That's a good
Or-
point. I think Malik, once we come up with an action plan, I mean, this just came to light today.
Sure.
So we don't have a
When I
if
say
you're
that, I
talking about
mean if you are being impacted by the government shutdown and in need of any assistance, please contact XYZ. That's what I mean by
yeah.
that an announcement. Not so
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think we'll want to be able to know what we can support versus not, so we certainly don't want to overpromise. So, I think we'll try to act quick, and if we can get something in the newsletter for this week, we certainly will.
Maybe we solicit volunteers or people interested in, being part of the effort, because we will definitely need folks to volunteer, the financial support, time, if we're going to do like a weekend backpack type initiative or whatever that might be. We're going to need some hands on deck. So maybe we call for interested people. I could definitely willing to be the contact person if we can put a call out.
Well,
Yeah, so we'll try to coordinate with the foundation and the PTO on this as well. Thank you, Kim. Erica. Well, any questions before we move on? Erica, Sharon?
Whole Wild met last week. Right now, there's some changes with Whole Child as far as staffing goes. So the awards are sort of as an assembly on hold. Once we have a staff committee established and we have more consistency there, we will reassess the school-wide SEL programming. The SEL remains a important and integral part of our curriculum. And so it remains on our to-do list to reassess and to incorporate. And also the committee is working on a strategic goal to put into our 5-year plan pertaining to SEL. So if anybody has any comments or inputs on, what SEL should focus on in the next 5 years, we welcome you to come to our next meeting, which I believe is in December, but it's posted on our website.
And President will also, there were a lot of comments about SEL in the survey, as Malik mentioned, so One Child Committee will also be looking at the survey results as a result of that.
Yeah.
Any questions for Whole Child?
When is the next meeting? We just had one in October, so the next one in December. I don't know off the top of my head. I have to look. Is actually December.
Okay, Monday.
Monday, yep, Monday, December.
It's gonna be the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone's dating. Everyone should be nice and tired.
Any questions for the child? Okay, you wanna go in foundation now?
Sure. So our foundation annual giving campaign is underway. You've seen the emails. We are hoping for 100% family and staff participation. And we are currently having a grade week challenge, which I believe this week is the last week. And currently, I believe fifth grade is in the lead, and I just saw the email, fifth and second grade, or fifth and third.
The one.
I just saw the email. Or it might be. So I know it's fifth grade. I apologize. I saw the email and now I don't know what happened to it. But I know it's fifth grade for the lower school, and I think it's second or third for the upper school, lower school, excuse me. And the winning grades will receive a prize. A teacher will choose. So if you are going to pledge, this week is a great week to do it.
Thank you. Any other questions for the foundation? Right. This is the second opportunity for community comments. If you have a comment, please raise your hand. And subject to the guidelines just at the beginning of the meeting. All right, no hands have been raised. The board does have several agenda items to discuss in closed session. So I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Danny. All those in favor to enter into closed session, please say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose going to closed session say nay. Ayes have it. We will be entering into close. We will return from close as soon as we're done. Thank you for your patience. I also need to know.
He's not here. Oh, he's,
And Malik, is that you calling in?
no. He's all set now, three. He's over. 678.
Malik, is that you dialed in?
Yeah, it's him.
Okay, right. So we're,
Yes, it is me. It is me.
thank you. So we are back in session, returned from close. I will entertain a motion to approve the employee contract as presented by the executive director during close.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor of approving the employee agreement as proposed by the ED in close, say aye.
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 All those who do not favor say nay. The ayes have it, has been passed unanimously. I will entertain a motion to end today's board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning today's meeting, say aye.
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 All those who oppose ending today's meeting, say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you for your time. The meeting is concluded. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.